Hey guys, what's going on? We are back in the kitchen again. You know, up here in New England, it is like 12 degrees outside right now. It's starting to snow. I know you guys are probably aching for some camping, outdoor videos, things like that. But in the wintertime, this is what I do. I cook, do different things, different projects. And this is something I really wanted to share with you guys. About a year, no, 2 years, 2 Christmases ago, I got this hand crank meat grinder. And I've never used it. So today we're going to give it a shot and make some chicken sausage or chicken bratwurst. I have some dried jalapenos from my garden that I dehydrated. We're going to put those in some hot water, reconstitute those. Now we're going to make these bratwurst with some jalapeno. We're going to add some apple, possibly some cheddar cheese as well. So we'll grind it all up together and make some sausage links. So let's start with the first step. Now everything's been washed, dried. I have some, rubber gloves, things like that for touching the meat and whatnot. But the first step here is going to be cutting up the bacon and cutting up the chicken, getting it into the freezer so it can get a good hard chill. I'll also, right before we grind, I want this to be ice cold as well. So we'll start with that. We'll start with chopping up the chicken, opening those packages up, and start there. All right. Now we're going to cut up the bacon. This cutting board is very slippery. I don't know if you can see that. We're going to put a little piece of wet paper towel underneath it. If not, we'll have to use a silicone mat or something. That's better. So we'll cut it up into chunks, break it up. Now I probably would have used regular pork fat, or even some chicken skin or some other type of fat to put in there. Only because I really was trying to get away from some of the preservatives and stuff that's in the bacon, the sorbates. But this is what we got. This is what I'll use. There's a big difference between this video and my smoothie video. But nothing wrong with bacon. Everybody loves bacon. Alright, well let me get the rest of this bacon cut up, and I'll be back. Alright, now bacon's done. That's in the fridge. I have 14, a little over 14, probably closer to 15 pounds of large chicken breast. I would have liked to have done half chicken breast and half dark meat chicken, but I didn't have it and I wasn't going back out. So we're going to cut this up, cube it, and get this chilling as well. You want to make sure there's no bone or any cartilage. That wouldn't be good in bratwurst. I cut it up into just cubes. Now I'd like to bring the camera in closer and give you kind of a close-up view of what I'm doing, but my hands being all chickened up, I can't exactly grab the camera, and I think we've all seen cut up chicken before. Now this one has a little bit of cartilage right in the corner there. We're going to cut that out. Toss that. Cut this into strips. And then into cubes. The fact that it's a little frozen, because I put it in the freezer for a little bit, helps with the cutting. Alright, well let me cut up the rest of this chicken. And I'll be back. Alright, so the chicken's done. I've washed everything. Don't want any cross-contamination. I use these Clorox wipes. Wipe everything down. Now we'll start with some of the fruit and other stuff. Get a fresh cleaning board, cutting board rather. I don't like to use the same cutting board for meat as I do for my vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to boil a little bit of water, just not even boil it, just bring it up to hot water and just add a handful of these jalapenos and they'll start absorbing the water. It'll add a little moisture to the chicken as well. Two good handfuls. Now these will come out spicy. This is a good amount of dried jalapenos, red and green. I like spicy things. I'm kind of a chili head, so we're going to use them. I get a little angry when I pay $8-9 for hot sausage and it's not that spicy. It's, you know, you can barely even taste the jalapenos. Okay, while our jalapenos are reconstituting, I'm also going to add 6 gala apples, but I am going to peel them and dice them nice and fine. And then I'll also mix it all together before we grind and stuff our sausage. You know, maybe we can do this a little bit faster. There, that wasn't so bad. The peels we'll put into the compost bin. That's better. Ooh, lifesaver. More water. Now I bought this block of Cabot sharp cheddar. I have no idea how much to use, so we're going to use half of it. Jalapenos are looking good. Ooh, smell good. Now I will be adding 1 bag of chopped onion, frozen. That'll help keep everything chilled as well, I believe. As well as mixed pepper strips. Just sweet peppers. Alright guys, now that everything's for the most part cut up, I have it in the freezer. I'm going to let it get nice and cold. I mean, like almost frozen, crystallized, like little water crystals on it before I start to grind it up. That should help the grinder process it and make it easier to cut. As far as the seasoning goes, with the grinder for Christmas, I got a package of brought seasoning to help with this process. Now that's supposed to be for pork or beef, and I'm using chicken. So I figured I would cut the seasoning in half, because chicken is a very mild flavored meat, so I'm only going to use half of the seasoning that they recommend, but I am going to add other things that they don't have listed, like the jalapenos, the cheese, the onions, the peppers. Everything else that I add is not part of this kit. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along. I mean, even the apples, that's just something I'm just making up. I haven't really measured anything either. We'll see how this works. This is my first time, and I want to make sure everybody knows that. I'm not a sausage making professional in any way, shape, or form. This is something that was just going to be fun to do, and I figured I'd share it with you guys. Jalapenos are looking good. They're not fully reconstituted, but they're softer, pliable. So we're just going to run a knife through them, just to make them easier to mix in. I really don't want huge pieces of jalapeno. I'd rather have a lot of small pieces mixed throughout. Mess. That's right, that won't hurt nothing. It's all going to end up being mixed together. In the end anyway. Now the grinder, once I grind this through, will also cut it up even smaller. So what we're doing is we're just mixing all the ingredients together. I don't have a tub big enough, and again my hands are pretty nasty, so I can't grab the camera. I wish I could. Unfortunately, I don't have a cameraman. I can show you, kind of lift it up and jalapenos, the bacon, cheese, and the chicken. For the seasoning. Really wish I had a bigger tub. Alright, I'm going to continue mixing this up. I might put some of it back in these bowls, mix it separately, then put it together and mix it and just keep mixing it up until I feel it's really good and mixed. Still have the apples. We have a cup of red wine to put in and the liquid smoke. I'm going to add a little bit of this liquid smoke. But I think I'm going to add the apples as I add this mixture to the grinder. You know, I'm really starting to think I bit off more than I can chew here. This hand crank grinder, this is not going to be an easy process at all. Let's add the other ingredients that I need. I'll put fresh gloves on. We'll add some liquid smoke. Figure 2 tablespoons. Not a lot. This stuff goes a long way. And we'll add a cup of red wine as well. Most of the recipes call for a couple cups of distilled water. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to add water to something that I can add extra flavor to. Plus, it allows me to have a glass. This is a Apothic Red. I have a couple different selections from them. I like it. And we'll add a cup. To that. Some thyme. Some dried oregano. To give it a little bit more of that sausage flavor, we'll add a little bit of ground sage. Thought it was empty, it wasn't. There we go. We'll start mixing that up again. Now, I'm not overly worried about mixing it up extremely well. I think grinding through the grinder twice and then going through again to stuff the sausage casings should mix it up pretty good. But I'll work in batches, probably half of this at a time, keep the other half in the freezer to chill. Smells good.
Alright, well, I guess we'll start grinding.
I will spray the inside of the grinder with some Pam on occasion, just to keep everything lubed and moving. I have the glove on the wrong hand. Let's put a new glove on. Well, you can hear the frozen peppers and onions are still frozen. Looking pretty good, pretty ground up pretty good. Might have to do it 3 times, I don't know. Now this is a number 32 grinder, which is big. Probably bigger than I need. I should have screwed it down to something as well. But like I said, this is a learning process for me. I'm sure I'll get hate mail and everything else for this one, on everything that I've done wrong, but I was kind of gung-ho to do it, probably a little more than I should have been. I think in the future a motorized one is going to be a must. Doing a good job at grinding it though, as far as I'm concerned. I just wish I thought ahead of time and screwed it down to a board of some sort. Now, if the thought of raw meat grosses you out, I apologize. But I think you kind of knew in the title what was going on, so I can't take all the blame. Definitely dangerous. You can get your finger stuck in there pretty easy.
Whew. No gym membership needed for this one. All right. Well, more than half of my meat is done. I think it's a good consistency, very much like ground sausage. Seeing this, I think I'll keep the large whole plate. I don't think I'll use the small one at all. I think I'll leave it the way it is. Let's move on to the second batch. Alright, there we have it. Alright, we'll put that in the fridge or the freezer, clean the machine up again, and we'll do it one more time. Alright, so we got got everything ground up twice. It was a lot of work. I was quite surprised, kind of caught me off guard, but looks good. Everything's in the freezer now. I don't think I would do this again unless it was an automatic machine. Something I might just attach a pulley to this machine with a small foot pedal motor. But cranking it and trying to have another hand to do other things it's not very ergonomic. It's not very good. But like I said in the beginning of the video, this is my first time doing it. It's very awkward. The other challenge I have is keeping everything cold. I got to keep putting stuff into the freezer, taking it out of the freezer, putting it into the freezer, taking it out of the freezer. You know, you're working with raw meat and things like that. You have to keep the temperature, you know, at a certain level. You know, you don't want that bacteria to grow. You don't want any contamination. You don't want any issues that way. So that was one of the big challenges, was the hand cranking of the grinder and keeping everything cold with limited space. I mean, yes, I'm in my kitchen. It's not a very big kitchen. I don't have a lot of countertop. I probably should have taken the microwave out and would have given me a little more space. But this is going to end part one of the sausage making, or the bratwurst making, however you want to do it. Part two, which I'm going to film right after this, is going to be the actually stuffing the sausages and making the actual links of the sausage. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part two when I start actually making the finished product. We're actually going to cook some of the finished product, so part two should be exciting. Alright, thanks for watching part one. Stay tuned. Part two. Alright.